Okay, so like we were saying, slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. M is your slope, b is your y-intercept. Label, always label. Labeling's fun. What's my slope on problem number 3? So I have -3, and then the slope is always connected to the x. Oh my goodness. Okay. The y-intercept is positive or negative? So I put +2. Now what's great about being the teacher is now I can say, I want you to try 4, 5, and 6 on your own. We'll get to that when we get to that. I want you to try on your own first. Don't cheat, checkers. I know you are, because it's very simple. So you say you need to know auntie and aunt? Those are the same thing. There's a quiz that was 20 questions. It's not a quiz. It's a midterm. Isabella? Isa? Ease? E. What's number 4?
Y equals -x plus 7.
Boom. Okay. It's -1x. Do we technically need the 1?
I mean, you can, right?
I just had 2. I should have sent them. I sent them like 4 minutes ago.
They might have went to 208. Did they go to Parker Street?
That's what the one I sent them to.
Okay, I'm in Firely Street.
Oh, that explains that one then.
Okay, we got fine.
Okay, so we have -x plus 7. All right, 5. Let's go with Kinsey. Y equals 1/4 x. The b, or the y-intercept, is +0. Do I need to put +0? No, you don't need to put +0, but if you do, is it wrong? No, because technically it is correct. All right? Corbin, number 6. Aw, why'd you change it? Just keep it as -5/2. Keep going. Boom. Improper fractions. Do we need to make them into mixed numbers? No, this is algebra. Keep it improper. Just reduce the fraction, but keep it improper. Okay? That is when you're given slope and y-intercept.
Can't find them. Oh.
Check 208. Yeah. One of my kids came back saying 208, and I yelled no, and then he probably didn't listen.
Okay.
So check 208. 2 guys.
Okay.
It would be those 2. Like, literally would be those 2 that would do this. Okay. Now let's talk about when you're given a graph. Identify the slope and the y-intercept of the line of the graph, then write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So anytime we try to find slope on a graph, we need to create what type of shape? A right triangle, right? Right triangle, okay? That'll tell us our rise over the run, because that's how you find slope. It is rise over the run, all right? Now, how far did I rise? How far did I run? 1. 3 over 1 is my slope. Could I rewrite that as something simpler?
3.
As just 3. Any numerator over 1 is just that numerator. All right? The y-intercept is literally what it says. The y-intercept. Where does the line intercept the y-axis? Here's my y-axis. I'll even do it in a different color. Here's my y-axis right there. Okay, at what value of y does the graph cross the y-axis? Negative what? 4. Negative 4 is where it crosses it. Do I have slope? Do I have my y-intercept?
Yep.
So I can do slope-intercept form. Did you notice that that's the name of the form?
Oh.
Slope and an intercept? Slope-intercept form?
Why'd you send us to root 201?
Because that was where I thought she was. That's where she was last class period. So you need to go to the classroom across from 205.
What do I do?
Go to the classroom across from 205. Go to the classroom across from room 205. So go to the classroom. Yep.
Where's the other one?
Oh. See him?
Is he still in? Go find Tim.
He's still inside the room.
Go get Tim. Go get Tim. Okay, so I have slope, I have intercept. I can now do y equals 3x minus 4. Okay, y equals 3x minus 4. All right, another example here. In order to find slope, I must do a what? Right triangle. Okay, what did I rise?
3.
Based on my triangle, I went down what? 6. Okay, down means negative. When I draw my triangle, I go down. Always do your triangle from left to right. Whether you're going up or down, always go from left to right. The left dot to the right dot. Always go left to right. Okay? All right, now what was my run? 4. Okay? Now, it is improper, which is okay. All you got to do is reduce the fraction like it's a normal fraction. What does 6 over 4 reduce to? Negative 3 over 2, because it's negative. Negative divided by a positive is a negative. So I have my slope. Where does my graph cross the y-axis? At 7. So right here is your y-axis.
So I just look at the dot that's on the line.
It's not always going to be a dot, though. Sometimes it'll just be the line. So this line, like, it won't have a dot. It'll just be like this line. What? There won't be any halves.
They'll be directly on.
We're going to give you ones that are directly on a number. Speaking of, what? Okay. All right, we're going to do 11, 12, 14, and 15. So 11, 12, 14, and 15. You are going to do those 4 on your own, because I've done 2 examples already. So you're going to do those 4 on your own. Or you can be checkers and have done the entire thing already.
Oh, what? You already did a quarter of a year. You dropped out?
Yeah, because the way we ran the phone, I couldn't learn this.
Yeah, at-home learning was tough.
And then I did 2 years of pre-algebra.
I'm only joking. Well, I was just like,
B is where the graph crosses the y-axis. So here's your y-axis right here. Okay, so your B is where it crosses it at.
Okay.
So just you follow that line, and wherever the line crosses, that's your B. Okay, so it's within the name y-intercept. Intercept means cross. Okay, so where does the line cross the y-axis? And that'll be your B. All right, who wants to be my first victim? I mean, volunteer.
Volunteer for what?
To go up to the board and show me what you get for 11. All right.
You got this. Is there an X?
Yes, there are 2 of them up there on the left-hand side.
So, you said was fire.
Well, what was it to begin with? There it is. Okay. So it is y equals negative 1/4 x plus 5. Because remember, the line crosses at 5 on the graph right there. Okay, and it's negative 2 over 8 because we go down. We go down first, and then we go to the right. Think about number lines. When I go down on the y-axis, I'm minusing numbers. When I go right on the x-axis, I'm plussing numbers. So negative 2 plus 8 gives you negative 2 over 8. Then that reduces to the 1/4. Okay? Who would like to volunteer to do number 12? Kamora? Yeah, it's you. Correct. Y equals 4/3 x. Good. Okay. Who would like to go up to the board and show 14? Corbin. When you go up there, can you also erase what you have for 11 and 12? Because I'm going to have it rewritten anyway. There you go. All right, now show us 14. That is the world's smallest x. But the slope is negative. It is 5 over 6. And the y-intercept is 1. Who sprayed something? Because that is insanely strong, and I'm all the way over here. Okay, so yes, it is y equals negative 5, 6, because it's a negative slope, plus 1. Good. Who would like to go up and do 15? Thank you for volunteering, Lucas. 15, you can take your paper with you because it's not a quiz. Ah, if only there was a whole stack of extras that you could grab. Okay, if only there was still a whole new packet you could grab. 15, yes sir. But more easily visible. Hmm? What do you mean they're different? Oh, so y'all don't cheat? Because I don't want to deal with... Look at all the paper I deal with already, and 90% of my stuff is online. No.
No, I like online. I like
There you go. That was hard to read. Okay, so you got 1/3 x minus plus, what is that? Plus or minus what? Plus 1. Where do we cross the y-axis at? Here's 0. Where do we cross the y-axis at? Positive or negative 2? There you go. Okay, so we get y equals 1/3 x plus 2. Good. Corbin, can you go up to the board and erase those? Any questions about getting slope and y-intercept from a graph?
No.
Awesome. Turn the page. Voila. What's the what? Easiest what? Easiest unit? Personally, I think we're in it right now. So we just talked about slope-intercept form, where you had a slope and you had a y-intercept. Now we're going to talk about standard form. And standard form is ax plus by equals c, where a, b, and c all represent, how do you spell represent? I don't know if that's right, but they all represent a number. Okay, they all represent a number. A, B, and C represent a number. Those aren't my variables. My variables are x and y. Okay, A, B, and C just represent an unknown number that we don't know yet. Now, equations written in standard form can be converted to slope-intercept form easily by just solving for y. Solving for the y, okay? Very simple. So we're going to do our same solving steps that we have over here on Coach Kimball's whiteboard. For my people watching the video notes, it's over here on Coach Kimball's whiteboard where step 1 is distribute. Is there any parentheses? No. Okay. Step 2, combine like terms. Are there any like terms to combine? No. Step 3, move all variables to the one side. Okay. In this situation, we're going to move everything that is not a y variable to the other side. Now, how do we move something from one side of the equal sign to the other? With two different types of operations. Adding or subtracting. Yes, I know what you're talking about. We draw our line, right? Okay, but to take something and move it over, we add or subtract. In this situation, what would I do? Subtract 2. Okay, so here are these like terms. No, why? One has a variable and one does not, so I can't subtract them. So what do? I write it in y equals mx plus b order. Do I have y by itself? Answer is yes. Yes, I do. Yeah. This is basically what we did the last unit. Instead of solving for x, we're solving for y. It's literally the same thing. Correct. Correct. Okay, so let's do another one. Whole point is to isolate y, get y by itself. So I need to move everything away from it. So minus 4x to both sides. Okay, that cancels because it's a zero pair. 5y equals negative 4x minus 30. I am always going to write it in mx plus b order. Okay, so the x will go first. Now, what do I need to do to get y by itself? Divide by 5. That has not changed. Now, I'm going to divide by 5 to everything on the other side of the parentheses. Okay, now because I have one as a variable and one as a constant, I'm going to write it as two separate division problems here, just because they're two different types of numbers. So this now becomes just y, because 5 divided by 5 is 1y. Negative 4 divided by 5, is that going to give me a whole number? No, it's going to give me a fraction, right? So you want to know how to make your life simple? Keep it as the fraction. That's going to make your life easier. Okay? If you divide and it doesn't come out to a whole number, just keep it as a fraction. Then all you got to do is just reduce the fraction. Okay? Here, negative 30 divided by 5 does give you a integer, not technically a whole number, but an integer. What's negative 30 divided by 5? Negative 6. Do I now have y by itself?
Yes.
So I box it in because that's my answer. Bing, bang, boom. The Wicked Witch is dead. I can't tell if you're confused or not. Let's do another example then. Okay. Let's do 3. Let's do 3. Okay. I'm going to draw my line, okay, because that's what I taught y'all a while back. All right. Goal is to get everything away from the y. So that's what I'm going to do. Subtract y or subtract x, sorry, slip of the tongue. Subtract x because I'm trying to get it to the other side. Now it's completely gone from the left, and I'm left with negative 3y equals negative x, which is technically negative 1x plus 12. The goal is to get y by itself. So the only way to get y by itself and leave it on the left-hand side is by doing division. So I asked myself, first and foremost, negative divided by a negative is a positive. If I take 1 and I divide it by 3, am I going to get a whole number? No. So what do? Leave it as is. Now, not every time will you leave it as is. Sometimes you'll have to reduce the fraction, but I'm going to leave it as 1/3 x. Yes, it is positive because a negative divided by a negative. Over here, do I get a whole number?
No.
Technically not. You get an integer. I should have rephrased my question. You get an integer. What's 12 divided by negative 3? Negative 4. Y is now by itself. Bob's your uncle. Fanny's your aunt. And we all had a happy Christmas. Buongiorno.
How'd you get negative 4?
How'd I what?
How'd you get negative 4?
Positive divided by a negative gives you negative. 12 divided by 3 is 4. There's also a calculator that you can use, which for some reason y'all neglect a lot.
I just did negative.
Ah. All right, you're going to do 6 and 7 on your own. 6 and 7 on your own. Ready, set, banana. All right, who wants to walk me through solving 6? Just walk me through it. Xavier, can you just walk me through the steps to solve 6? Subtract 3 from x from both sides. We're not talking while I'm talking. Awesome. Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay, almost, because I'd rather just keep it as the fraction. So you can do the decimal, but let's go ahead and keep it as a fraction. So if I give you standard form, go ahead and leave it as a fraction. Okay, so it's the same value though, 3 over 2x, because negative divided by negative is a positive. And then what'd you get for right here? What'd you get for this part? Plus 7. There you go, perfect. Okay, so putting 1.5x is not technically wrong, but we want you to use more of the fractions than the decimals. Okay, use the fractions more. All right, who'd like to walk me through step 7? Step 7, question 7. Just walk me through it, just like that. Corbin? Okay, so I have 4y equals 6x plus 20. Okay, and that gives me y equals. Okay, it's open. Just gotta push. Okay, now, this is technically correct, but what do we need to do with this fraction right here? Simplify it. So 6 over 4 can reduce to 3 over 2x plus 5. Always reduce your fractions, even if they're improper, to the lowest form. Questions, comments, concerns, or tribulations? Any hinklepinks, quandaries, or kerfuffles? Sweet. Turn the page. So, we're not going to do those 4 due to time restraints. Okay? Given a graph, you got to figure out the correct standard form. Now, there's no cheat code to this. Okay, I'm calling it a cheat code. There's no shorthand way of doing this. There's only one true way to get the right answer, and that is to convert each answer choice to y equals mx plus b. There's no cheat code to it. It's just good old grunt work. Good old hard work. Okay? Now I will say the first step to solving a question like this, aka on the STAR test or on your unit test, but mainly on the STAR test when they give you a graph and give you standard form with multiple choice answers, Coach Kimball is he loves eliminating wrong answers first, the most obviously wrong ones. Okay, now these are the situations where there is no obviously wrong answer yet. Okay, so we have to do the grunt work. All right, but first thing you need to do is you need to identify the slope and the y-intercept of the graph itself first. So what is my slope of my graph? My slope is 1. I go up 1 and over how many? 3. So my slope is 1/3, positive. Yes. The triangle? No. Just as long as you know where's the run and where's the rise. I could have built my triangle right over here. I could have done this and that. It's the exact same answer. And it doesn't get me 3, it gets me 1/3. Because it rise over run. I could go down here and go on the bottom half. My run is still 3, my rise is still 1. Okay? Anytime it doesn't matter how big the triangle is. I could do this. I could build that big triangle there, that real big triangle, and do 2/6. It'll still simplify to 1/3. Okay? So slope triangles, as long as the triangle is on the same exact line, they have all the same slope. Okay? The y-intercept, where does the graph cross the y-axis at? -2. That's the key indicator. Okay, -2. All right. How do you find y-intercept? Great question. Easiest thing to do, and what I like to do is I like to find the y-intercept is take the y value, divide it into the whole number. So I have the y value of 3, 3y, take 3, divide it into my constant. What's -6 divided by 3? -2. Okay, now this is Coach Kimball finding a way to do process of elimination here. Okay, it's -2. All right, what if I did -3 divided into 6? What would I get? I'd still get -2. Okay, what if I did 1 divided into -2? What would I get? I get -2. So I haven't been able to eliminate anything yet. All right, so this has a b of -2. This also has a b of -2. This also has a b of -2. Here, if I have 2 divided by -1, what do I get? So was I able to eliminate anything? Unfortunately, no. Okay, so now I need to go to the slopes. Okay? So to get the slopes, I need to minus my x to both sides. Okay, so now I have negative 1x divided by 3. What's negative 1 divided by a positive 3? Negative divided by positive is a negative. So I have negative 1 over 3. Is my slope supposed to be negative? No. No. So A is finally eliminated. Answer choice B. You subtract your x to both sides. So now you have negative x divided by negative 3. Negative divided by negative is a positive 1/3. Do I have a positive 1/3? Yes. Do I have a negative 2? Yes. Grunt work. So that's one way to solve it. Here's another way. Okay, here's another way to solve it. I'm going to solve each one in a slope-intercept form. So subtract my x, subtract my x. So that'll end up being y equals negative 1/2 x minus 1. Okay. This one will end up being y equals negative 1/2 x minus 1 also. This one will be y equals negative 2x minus 1. And this one will be y equals negative 2x minus 1. What? Oh, positive 2x. Dodoy. Positive 2x. Haha. Okay. So, if you notice, I went ahead. I kind of skipped some steps. I did the math in my head. Okay. But it's just the same thing that we were learning on the last page. Okay. So, I did the math in my head. So, first of all, I need to identify my slope and my y-intercept. Now, y-intercept is always easy. It's just where does the graph cross the line? Crosses it at negative 1. So if I look at all these y-intercepts, I can't eliminate nada. Okay? So then I find slope. I create my right triangle. How high up did I go? 2. How far did I run?
1.
So 2 over 1 is just 2. Okay, so I need to find a positive slope of 2. This is negative 1/2. That's negative 1/2. So A and B are gone just because they're negatives. Okay, and they're halves. C and D is what I have left. I have negative 2 and positive 2. What is my slope supposed to be? Positive 2. So C is out, and I'm left with answer choice D. Again, I did not show you all the work to convert these to slope-intercept form, because that would have taken a little bit longer. I did most of it in my head, and just by remembering that to get solved for something, you just do the opposite over and over and over again. So when I had a positive 2x here, I had a negative 2x here, but then I divided by a negative 1, which changed it back to positive. Okay. Long story short, D is your answer. So the only true way to solve problems like this, there's no shortcut, and I'm sorry that there's no shortcut. I'm usually all about finding the shortcuts. Couldn't find one in this situation. You just had to identify the slope and the y-intercept, boom and boom, and then you just had to convert every single answer to slope-intercept form. Everyone understand that? Get it, got it, Gran? Sweet. Okay, what I need y'all to do next.